Now at 9, a high-speed chase that began in Joplin ends with an arrest in southeast Kansas. Plus, the family of Kenneth Matthews speaks out about his unsolved murder 1 year after his death in Joplin. And
we are just 2 weeks away from a potential default. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington as top congressional leaders meet once again at the White House.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. A chase across state lines ended with the arrest of a Columbus man wanted by police. The chase began in Joplin when police noticed a pickup truck believed to be being driven by a suspect out of Cherokee County, Kansas. The chase left Joplin and passed through Jasper County before ending near Crestline, Kansas by the Missouri border. That's where authorities arrested Stephen Tyner of Columbus, who was wanted in Cherokee County for rape, attempted murder, and kidnapping in the stabbing of a woman in Galena back in December. The woman survived. A judge has sentenced one of 2 suspects in connection with a Newton County murder case. Eddie Fisher is sentenced to 4 years in prison for abandonment of a corpse and 7 years in prison for receiving stolen property. Those sentences will run concurrent, so he'll serve 7 years. It stems from the April 22 murder of Scotty Roller. Authorities say Fisher's son, Damian Fisher, shot and killed Roller after an argument over the purchase of a vehicle. They say Eddie Fisher then helped Damon wrap Roller's body in a rug and dump the body down a well on Eddie's property near Seneca. Damian Fisher is charged in the case with second-degree murder and armed criminal action. Firefighters investigate an overnight house fire in Joplin's Blenville neighborhood. 911 calls came in shortly after midnight about the structure fire on South Wall Avenue. Firefighters had the active flames under control within minutes, but the fire had already spread through the porch ceiling and into the eaves of roof. No one was found inside or injured during the blaze. The cause of the fire is under investigation. The Joplin Police Department is still searching for answers a year after the fatal shooting of Kenneth J. Matthews. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to the Matthews family.
A year ago, the intersection of 5th and Connor Avenue in Joplin was covered in crime tape and police officers. Now the tape and officers are gone, but the mystery of what happened here on May 17, 2022 still lingers.
There's 2 victims in this case. Kenneth J. Matthews was ultimately deceased. He was murdered. But there's another individual who was shot multiple times also.
According to police, Kenneth J. Matthews was walking with a friend around 6 p.m. on South Corner Avenue when he was shot multiple times and pronounced dead on the scene. The shooter or shooters drove away in a dark-colored passenger vehicle.
And so he was the bystander, and it just makes it that much worse.
A year later, Matthews' family is still wanting justice. JPD is keeping in touch with the family to let them know they're still investigating.
To be honest, it's been a distant relationship with the family. There's not a lot of close family in this area. We did identify a son, a biological son that lives on the east side of the state, but he's had issues in the Children's Division State's custody of trying to find him. He was hard to get hold of.
And I haven't talked to Detective Stahl in a couple months because it just gets really disheartening to call and to find out that there's been no further movement on the case.
Matthew's sister remembers him as a teddy bear. Though not siblings by blood, they still have that bond.
Like I say, we were in foster care. We did a lot of walking around the streets of Carterville when we were younger, raising hell, doing what little redneck kids do.
Matthew's sister Crystal believes someone in the community has information. Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
If you have any information, please contact the Joplin Police Department. And now Chief Meteorologist Doug Heady joins us with the first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be a dreary, kind of chilly day for us today. We should be topping out upper 70s for this time of the year, but we had the clouds and we had the drizzle sticking around. So 64 was our high. Average high is 77. Record high is 89 set back on this date. All right, we've had the low clouds starting to break up a bit, but we are going to get some patchy fog in here as we go through the overnight hours, so watch out for that. But most of the rain, most of the drizzle is pretty much out of here. Temperatures still kind of holding into lower 60s at this point in time, but the fog is going to start to pick up, especially southwest Missouri back through northeastern parts of Oklahoma as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. So we'll drop back into the 50s, overnight low of 56, kind of chilly, 68 by 10 a.m. The patchy fog tonight, warmer for us tomorrow, thunderstorms Thursday night. We're going to be breaking all that down for you here in just a bit.
This week is Infrastructure Week, and to celebrate, Missouri American Water is highlighting its investments planned this year. The company will invest a total of $425 million into water and wastewater system upgrades. Most of that will come in the form of replacing 43,000 feet of water pipe in Joplin. Officials say replacing aging pipes improves the system's reliability and improves fire protection.
If we don't make investments in our water system, what you're going to see a lot more water main breaks, which of course no one likes to come home and turn the tap on and not have reliable water service. It's also more expensive to wait until the pipe fails to replace it. So what we're doing is more cost efficient and really in the long run more convenient for the customer.
You can view all of Missouri American Water's planned pipe replacements projects on their website. Congressional leaders and President Biden met again today to negotiate the debt ceiling, but no clear place for compromise. And with the president headed out of town tomorrow, the potential June 1st deadline is creeping dangerously closer. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
Get a good picture of all of us.
Another Oval Office sit-down to see if there is any more room for compromise between Republicans and the White House to raise the debt ceiling.
It's unfortunate we are where we are.
Pressure for a deal is mounting as the clock ticks down loudly. There appears to be movement on crafting a budget deal separate from the debt ceiling vote. That would include reallocating billions in unused COVID-19 money, Republican-pushed energy reforms, and future budget caps, though they can't agree on how long. Another big sticking point, whether there should be more work requirements for federal assistance programs. Democrats are against them.
When we're talking about children getting food stamps to survive on, work requirements don't make any sense at all.
June 1st is the deadline laid out by the Treasury Secretary, though she says the real default date could be days or weeks later.
A U.S. default would generate an economic and financial catastrophe.
President Biden is off to the G7 summit in Japan on Wednesday. The rest of his trip to Papua New Guinea and Australia has been cut short to continue negotiations. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Coming up, how Food Allergy Awareness Week is helping those with them stay safe. The global hunger crisis continues to escalate, with new data showing a surge in food insecurity impacting millions of Americans and other communities around the world. Fox News' Chris DeMio reports.
Rising rates of food insecurity have global health officials starving for solutions. New data from the United Nations finds more than 250 million people in 58 countries lacked regular access to enough food to promote a healthy life last year.
35 million people are on the brink of starvation. 258 million people are experiencing an acute food and nutrition crisis.
The UN report says ongoing conflicts like the war between Russia and Ukraine, economic uncertainty, and worsening climate change are fueling global food shortages. It's the fourth year in a row levels of food insecurity have grown, and analysts say it's posing severe threats, especially for children.
Worldwide, 149 million children under 5 are experiencing stunted growth, and 35 million are suffering from wasting.
Here in the States, the nonprofit group Feeding America says 34 million people are food insecure, with new data from Purdue University's Consumer Food Insights report finding
food insecure households are less happy with their overall diet and less happy with their overall life in general than our food secure households.
In the U.S., researchers also say high bills and limited access to grocery stores is causing more shoppers to expand their search for budget-friendly foods.
Total food spending is about 7% higher now than was the case last year. About 55% of consumers said that they had shopped at a dollar store in the past 30 days. In fact, most people said that there was a dollar store closer to their home than was the typical grocery store.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
It's Food Allergy Awareness Week, and there are new positive developments on treatments and prevention, especially for peanut allergies. According to foodallergy.org, 32 million Americans have at least one food allergy. A new study published in the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology examined ways to help lower a child's risk of developing peanut allergies. The study found when peanuts were included in the diets of 4-month-olds with eczema and 6-month-olds without eczema, they had a 77% decrease in developing in peanut allergies. If the introduction of peanuts was postponed until 12 months old, the allergy rate only decreased by 33%, according to the study. The World Health Organization says artificial sweeteners may do more harm than good. The agency released new guidelines Monday, warning people against using non-sugar sweeteners to manage their weight. The WHO says a review of available evidence suggests long-term use of non-sugar sweeteners does not reduce body fat in children or adults. Non-sugar sweeteners could actually increase health risk, including type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even death in adults. The World Health Organization recommends to lessen the amount of sweeteners in your diet and eat food with natural sugars like fruit. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Baxter Springs and Frontenac meet in the first round of regionals. We'll have highlights in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a gloomy day for us today. Clouds all day long, kind of on and off drizzle throughout the day, and our highs only into the mid-60s across the region, which is about 14 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. We haven't dropped off much over the past couple hours. 64 in Yates Center, Nowata 65. We have Afton sitting at 64 degrees, 61 in Pineville. Lamar's checking in at 63 degrees, and still some drizzle out there. And we're going to see periods of drizzle as we go through the next few hours. Also, our humidity is going up and our winds are going down, meaning we're going to get some patchy fog as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. The clouds will break later on tonight, but kind of chilly. We'll drop back to about 56 later on tonight. All right, the thickest of the clouds are starting to break up, but at the same time, we're getting some patchy fog. We still have some drizzle across the region as this wave exits the area. Besides that, most of the Central Plains is looking pretty good. We have the monsoonal showers out to our west, high pressure in charge. So this sends all the storm systems across the northern plains and drops them down into the Central Plains, which we're going to get another one later on this week with a cold front. But until that high gets out of here, we're not going to get really much of the way of severe weather back into the area. But that will start to break down again by the time we head into next week. All right, fog building in, especially along and south of the I-44 corridor as we go through the overnight hours. So those visibilities are going to be dropping. So be careful if you're going to be on the roadways. Temperatures, most of us mid-50s by the time we get into the morning hours. We should go lower 70s by noon. I think most of us 75 to about 77 degrees for a high. 78 Stockton, 75 Neosho. Welch, 75 Iola, 78, but you can also see a few isolated little showers trying to pop up tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, clear skies, upper 50s to near 60. Once again, as we head into Thursday, southerly winds return. High temps near 80, so we warm up pretty good. And then Thursday night, we get a cold front that slides in and showers and thunderstorms work in, especially after midnight Thursday night. Some of those could be a little bit on the strong side. All right, 58 to start tomorrow, 72 by noon. High temp, 76 degrees. We are going to focus on those chances for thunderstorms late Thursday night. And then through about 3/4 of the day on Friday, we're going to have on and off showers and thunderstorms across the region. 76 tomorrow, 79 Thursday, cooler Friday with the clouds and the showers, high of 69. Weekend looks fantastic, 70, 75 on Sunday. Thunderstorm chances just about each and every day rolling in for us next week.
Yeah, I guess the saying for us this year is lack of April showers bring May showers.
A lot of May showers, yeah.
All right, thank you, Doug. Coming up, looking for answers.
Former banking CEOs getting grilled on Capitol Hill by lawmakers who want to know why their banks went out of business. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington. I've got the details coming up.
A tense hearing on Capitol Hill today, with lawmakers criticizing the heads of two failed banks for almost sparking another major financial crisis. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more from Washington.
The last 2 months have shaken the banking sector.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill laying into the former heads of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, asking why those banks failed and who was responsible. Silicon Valley former CEO Gregory Becker blaming what he called an unprecedented bank run that could not have been predicted. But lawmakers point out that only happened after serious concerns about the bank's liquidity, which was apparently never addressed by federal regulators.
The bank never fixed it. It looks like you never even tried.
We also found out that our banking regulators were utterly asleep at the wheel.
Becker also getting heavy criticism for giving bonuses to top executives just hours after the bank collapsed and was taken over by the government.
Are you planning to return a single nickel to what you cost the fund?
Senator, I know there's going to be a process review of compensation.
I'll take that as a no.
Meanwhile, former Signature CEO Scott Shea says his bank failed due to turbulence in the cryptocurrency market. He says the bank was overexposed, but at no time did it ignore any warnings from regulators. And he claims he was actually advocating for more regulation before the bank failed.
At all times, I advocated for measured and different regulation for banks.
I'm glad to hear you say that now because it's too little too late.
The FDIC is now proposing higher fees for the biggest banks to cover the costs of future bank failures. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Next, a famous bar hits the auction block. It's a chance to own a place where everyone will know your name. The bar from the TV show Cheers is up for auction in Dallas, Texas. The bar is broken into 3 sections. It includes the brass railing, the burgundy leatherette bar stools, and the back bar unit. And the bar contains famous autographs from several cast members who carved their names into the wood. The auction for the Cheers bar is part of a larger sale of TV memorabilia. That's awesome. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, some local elementary students get a new track. Plus, the school receives a grant to improve its library. The Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri in Joplin will receive thousands of dollars in tax credits through a state program. KOAM John Haudela talked with the club officials about the importance of the credits and heard from some of the kids impacted.
The State of Missouri's Youth Opportunities Program awarded the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri $200,000 in tax credits.
It also gives a donor an opportunity to give a little more because it all depends. I'm not an accountant, but it kind of depends what your tax bracket is. But say you give $1,000, it may only cost you $500.
Rhonda Gorham, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri, says this is an opportunity to give back to donors. When they write a check, they can be written a 50% tax credit. The club provides different activities for 6 to 18-year-olds and needs a lot of staff.
The funds go for just our programming. It can go summer or after-school program. It helps us pay for staff. A lot of grants will not necessarily pay for staffing, and we employ 80 staff, so it takes a lot of money to cover that.
The programs occupy a lot of young students' afternoons.
If I was home, it would be more boring because there's no one to really communicate with.
And bring students from different schools together.
We went to small gym and we figured out that we both like sports and we started becoming friends.
Gorham says the $200,000 tax credits are spread over 2 years.
Once it's gone, it's gone. So we encourage people that if they want to make a donation and help us out right now, we just turn around, give them their paperwork back, and they can get it on their taxes this year.
In Joplin, Jana Haudela, KOAM News.
The state's Youth Opportunity Program has up to $6 million in tax credits to award annually. A Joplin elementary school is celebrating the completion of a new walking and running track for their playground. McKinley Elementary officials in Joplin today held a ribbon cutting to unveil the new track. Officials say it'll give students another way to stay active during recess and PE classes.
The track is made of 100% recycled materials, shredded tires, 100%. Our track is a little over 200 meters long, 6 foot wide. It's 35,000 pounds of shredded tires.
The track was paid for with a grant of local donations. Another Southwest Missouri elementary school is also got a grant. This one is going to improve the book selection at the school's library. The Laura Bush Foundation for America's Libraries gave a grant of $5,000 to Knoll Primary School. The school's librarian says the grant will allow them to diversify the library shelves.
With our provided budget, it's difficult to provide for, the 270 students we already have, in addition to the 60 pre-K students we have as well. And so grants like this that allow me to have additional funding to continue those services.
The Laura Bush Foundation handed out $5,000 grants to 300 schools across 44 states. The Miami, Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce is trying to empower female entrepreneurs. The chamber hosted a Women in Business Connection luncheon featuring a presentation titled Closing the Generation Gap. It was a chance for female business leaders to network and to find common ground among entrepreneurs in varying ages. Nearly a week after Title 42 expired, illegal border crossings continue to plummet, though officials warn the situation may not stay that way for long. Fox News correspondent Bill Mulligan has more.
The number of illegal crossings keep falling at the southern border. On Monday, there were less than 4,000 nationwide, but CBP sources tell Fox News cartels and smugglers are adjusting to the end of Title 42 and warn the numbers will go back up. Defense officials say about 1,000 more troops will deploy to the region by next month.
CBP ultimately will be the ones to determine their disposition since they're there to support CBP.
The Biden administration remains in a legal battle, appealing a federal judge's ruling that prevents migrants from being released without a court date. Officials want to release them on their own recognizance to prevent overcrowding at processing facilities. Court documents reportedly reveal Homeland Security released more than 6,000 migrants last Thursday without a court date before a judge blocked that process.
Detain them, get judges down there to look at their cases, see who's valid for an asylum claim, and those that are not, send them back, or else people are going to continue coming.
Meanwhile, the end of Title 42 is impacting states beyond the southern border. New York City is prepared to house migrants in public school gyms as hotels and shelters are at capacity.
I'm empathetic towards migrants that are coming into the city that need resources, but my message is that you can't create a problem.
And Texas Governor Greg Abbott says his state has now bused nearly 18,000 migrants to sanctuary cities all around the country. Reporting in Brownsville, Texas, Bill Malugin, Fox News.
A bit later, trying to rein in AI.
The head of the company behind ChatGPT is urging Congress to regulate artificial intelligence. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with more on his warning coming up.
Well, chilly day for us today. We have the clouds, we have the drizzle most of the day. Still have some drizzle and some patchy fog out there right now. Temperatures holding into the lower 60s across the region. I think we'll drop back mid-50s later on tonight. All right, you can see the water on the camera lens. Still a little bit of drizzle out there. Humidity is at 86%. Visibility is at 6 miles. Northerly winds at about 5 to 10. But again, we're going to drop back mid-50s later on tonight. 58 by 7, overnight low down to about 56. By 10 a.m., we'll be back to 68 degrees. But all the clouds, the low-hanging clouds, have been kind of breaking up a little bit, even though we still have the drizzle across the region. But our little wave starting to rotate out of here. So things are looking better as we look at the Central Plains. Let's go out west. This is all the beginnings of the monsoonal moisture. High pressure in charge. You can see the winds rotate around it. So this will send a storm system down into our neck of the woods by Thursday into Friday. But we really can't get any storm systems with a lot of upper level support when there's upper level high is here. But this will break down starting next week, kind of shift off toward the east and at least give us better chances for stronger thunderstorms once again. All right, so patchy fog for us tonight, especially along south. The I-44 corridor, now it's thick once you get out into our western counties, so be careful if you are going to be on the roadways with that patchy fog for us tonight. I think most of us drop back mid to upper 50s. We'll say 58 in Neosho, Fort Scott 55, Independence down to about 57. By the noon hour, most of us 70 to about 72. By the afternoon, we're going to stop at 4:30. You can see some isolated showers. I would still say 85% of us stay dry, but a few isolated showers, maybe a random thunder shower pops up. Most of us into the upper 70s for highs. Clear skies tomorrow night. We dip back 58 to about 60 once again. As we go into Thursday, southerly winds start to pick up a little bit, and we do warm near 80, lower 80s, Yates Center, Chanute, Independence, Parsons by the time we get into Thursday afternoon. Thursday night, showers, thunderstorms roll in, especially after midnight, and some of those could be fairly strong, so we'll keep our eyes on that. All right, starting in the 50s, ending at 76 during the afternoon. We're going to wait for that storm system to come in. Cold front slices in Friday morning, showers, thunderstorms, and then I think most will be out of here by the evening hours. And then we cool down. Look at this. As we head into the weekend, we start into the mid 40s, mid to upper 40s, so it's going to be kind of chilly. 76 tomorrow, 79 Thursday, 69 on Friday. The weekend looks great, 70 and 75. And then chances for thunderstorms pop up next week and slowly increase as we go through the week.
You said into the 40s?
Yeah,
a little. Tell me we might have to break out the jackets.
Little
after we
chilly.
were just in the sport.
It won't last long. A little chilly.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Doug. Coming up in sports, we'll hear from the Missouri Southern baseball team as they prepare to host a regional for the first time since 1992. Plus, the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons play for a spot in the 5A state tournament. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more after the break.
Today is the opening day of the playoffs for Pittsburgh High School baseball. The Purple Dragons are the 4th seed in the 5A East bracket after going 15-5 in the regular season. Pittsburgh hosts KC Piper this afternoon with the winner moving on to the regional championship game. At top of the second, Quentin Fears has the curveball working. Strikeout there, then moments later, another strikeout. Pittsburgh leads it 3-0 going to the bottom of the second. Now here with a man on third, Tucker Akins drops a liner into left. That scores Dawson Stegman easily. RBI single for Akins makes it 4-0 Purple Dragons. This one turned into an offensive battle, but Pittsburgh wins it 12-9. So now to the championship. Pittsburgh faces Spring Hill for the regional title. In the second, Hagen Whitcraft reaches out, pokes it through the right side. Holden Luff scores. Merrick Mugridge right behind him. 2-run single for Whitcraft. Spring Hill scores 4 in the second. Into the fifth, Pittsburgh gets on the board. Pitch gets by here. Jaden Brown comes in from third. At that point, it's 5-1, and the Dragons looking for more here. Check this out. Tucker Akins off Donovan Johnson's glove. Johnson recovers, sliding throw for the out. Spring Hill takes this one 7-1 in the end. Pittsburgh finishes as regional runner-up. In Girard, Baxter Springs and Frontenac meet this afternoon in the first round of the 3A regional bracket. First inning, leadoff man Lane Sullivan for Frontenac. Hard shot to left, bounces all the way to the fence. Sullivan into second with the leadoff double. A couple batters later, Alex Williams delivers a liner into center. Sullivan comes home from second, and the Raiders have the first run of the game. Sticking around in the first, bases loaded. Cal Turlip sneaks one through the right side. 1 run scores. Mario Mangini right behind him for another. 4 runs for Frontenac in the first. The next inning, Mario Mangini with the bases loaded, rolls it through the left side. That brings in 2 more for the Raiders. Frontenac cruises by Baxter Springs in the regional opener, 12-2 in 5 innings. Now on the Missouri side, McDonald County, number 1 seed in the Class 5 District 7 bracket. They face Ruskin this afternoon in the first round. McDonald County wins big 15-0. They move on to face Warrensburg in the district semifinals. The Webb City Cardinals are the 2 seed in that bracket. They hit the field against Grandview in their playoff opener. Another big win and a shutout here. Webb City takes it 13-0. Cardinals will face the winner of Bolivar and Belton in the district semifinals on Thursday night. Moving now to softball, the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons have earned the right to host a regional after going 14-6 in the regular season. Pittsburgh hits the field this afternoon against Lansing in the regional semifinals. The Purple Dragons are the 4 seed in the bracket. Lansing is the 13 seed. Winner of this one moves on to the regional championship game. Now, Rory Hunziker in the circle for the Purple Dragons today, and she was really good. Top of the first with the runners on. Hunziker gets the first out of the game with a strikeout, then ends the inning with another one to get out of the jam. Top of the third, no score here. Check it out. Callie Terry makes an unbelievable catch in foul territory. Lansing was ready for it. The sac fly makes it 1-0 Lansing. Now, bottom of the third, though, same score. Heather Mowdy stealing second, but the throw is high. Goes into the outfield. That allows Maya Russell to score. Purple Dragons tie the game up at 1. Dragons get a solo homer from Megan Johnston in the 6th. They win a good one there, 2-1. So now Pittsburgh faces Bonner Springs for a regional title. Winner here goes to state. We'll pick it up. Bottom of the 5th inning. Pittsburgh already out to a 5-1 lead. Gabby White hammers this one into the gap. Check it out. Bounces off the top of the fence and over. 2-run homer for White. Purple Dragons push their lead to 7-1. So now we go to the top of the 7th. Last chance for Bonner Springs. Comebacker here right to Megan Johnston. She throws over to first, and that is the ball game. Purple Dragons beat Bonner Springs 7-1. They are headed to state for the first time since 2002.
Well, this was the goal from the very beginning. We wanted to win conference, we wanted to host a regional, we wanted to win it, we wanted to go state. This is 3 years in the making, so it's not just this year. We just happened to succeed this year, but this has been making for the last 3.
Just put it all out there because we have nothing to lose. We have no seniors, so it was just put everything out there. It's okay if we lose, but let's just go all out.
The Missouri Southern Lions are back in the Division II Baseball National Tournament. The Lions have earned the number 2 seed in the Central Region, making their first regional appearance since 2019. Now, the Lions finishes the MIAA tournament runner-up last weekend. They head into the regional with a 42-15 overall record. The Southern faces Arkansas Tech in the first round on Thursday night. They get to play it on their home field, making it their first home regional tournament game since 1992.
We've played in some intense games, with the 2 rounds of playoffs and, some of the teams in our league. So hopefully, we had gained some experience with that last year and gained some more throughout the season. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a different level of intensity, and
it's really awesome. I'm a local guy. I'm from Webb City, so I'll have family and friends out. A lot of my friends will come to the home games and they cheer real loud for us. If you've been to a game, you know who they are. Yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun.
I really love this time of the year, and I've been at some Southern games that were pretty intense, and the fans really do show up for Southern baseball, and they're very loud. It'll be a cool atmosphere to be in on Thursday night.
And then on top of Southern's baseball, we've got a lot of stuff going on for the first time in decades plus, to where it's like, man, this is a really cool time.
Southern softball hosts a regional for the first time since '93. Southern baseball first time since '92. Pittsburgh High School softball going to state for the first time since 2002. So a bunch of streaks being broken this week.
Absolutely, and hopefully they can keep it rolling through the postseason.
No doubt.
That's it for sports. We're back with more after this. Congress is struggling to regulate artificial intelligence, let alone understand it. Today, a Senate subcommittee held a hearing with the head of the company behind ChatGPT. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is making an urgent plea to Congress, siding with their calls to regulate artificial intelligence.
My worst fears are that the field, the technology, the industry, cause significant harm to the world.
Altman is the head of the company behind ChatGPT, transformative artificial intelligence software able to generate human-like responses. He agrees with critics that we still don't know how risky the growing technology may be, and says regulation by an American or global agency might be needed.
I would require independent audits. So not just from the company or the agency, but experts who can say the model is or isn't in compliance with these stated safety thresholds.
Lawmakers on both sides are worried about the potential for widespread job losses and AI's ability to mislead people, especially as the campaign season heats up.
With an election upon us, with primary elections upon us, that we're going to have all kinds of misinformation.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has met with tech leaders, including Elon Musk, to discuss safeguards. But the U.S. has lagged behind its allies and adversaries in regulating and investing in AI, raising the question of whether it's too late to rein in the technology.
Always follow the money, guys, right? This is projected AI to be a $17 trillion business by 2030. There's a lot of money to be made.
Congress holds another hearing on AI on Wednesday, this time examining the technology's effect on the music industry. In Washington, Malta Rivera, Fox News.
Next, we look at a new yoga style that's growing in popularity. With the weather warming up, yoga lovers are finding a new sense of balance by cracking open an ice-cold beer in class. Beer yoga is booming in popularity around the globe, as Tina Cross reports from London.
When the instructor calls for bottoms up in this yoga class, she means it.
It's about doing yoga and drinking beer. It's actually quite simple.
Beer yoga was the main attraction at Copenhagen Beer Week in Denmark, with participants seeking harmony both in body and taste.
Because the alcohol sometimes makes you feel more loose and more like going with the flow, thinking a little bit less.
But even the pros admit balancing beer with traditional yoga poses can get a bit tricky.
You know, if you're standing in a downward facing dog, you can't have a beer. But then you can put your leg down and maybe drink from the side.
Breweries around the globe are capitalizing on the concept that's thought to have started in the U.S. Newbies like Selena Voss are hooked.
You forget that there's someone else there. You just do you. There's no judgment at all.
A safe place to sip, where namaste and cheers go hand in hand. Tina Krause, CBS News.
Beer yoga is catching on across the U.S. It's also gaining popularity online, with some newbies preferring to try it first at home. And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of hippos playing in the rain at the Cincinnati Zoo. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.